Yo, hello. All right, that's working. What up? How's it going, everybody? What up? Okay. This is gonna be an everything stream. I don't know what I even named. What did I name this stream? Oh, that's not it. All right. I'm changing it all up. I'm sorry. For now, we're gonna be just chatting. I'll change that in a bit. My bad. I haven't streamed in a while. I'm all over the place. Okay. I also need that. Okay. Let's check out some TikTok, huh? Before we play some games.
So, with what's going on in Gaza, there's a lot of people...
This is one of the boys I wanted to watch right here. His name is Redlikechina.
Colonization of the Americas by white Europeans.
Let's check out Redlikechina. Let's put this music down a bit. All right, so Redlikechina is pretty awesome. He followed me, I followed him back. He has a lot of videos. But let's watch one of the most popular ones. He seems like a pretty cool dude.
As it turns out, I am very well informed on this topic, so here it goes.
So someone says, dude, you're denying the Holodomor, something which is heavily documented, instead of insulting his character. Actually respond to it.
First of all, the Ukrainian grain yields in 1930 were about 84 million tons. In 1931 and 32, that went down to about 70 million. Between 1933 and 1935, the Ukrainian grain yields averaged about 90 million tons, which is a significant increase. It's also worth mentioning that originally this claim of genocide was supposedly happening in 1934 or 1935, and it wasn't until later that these people revised their theory and said that it actually took place in 1931, 1932, and 1933 to more closely line up with the lower grain yields. Moreover, in 1934, a guy named Isaac Mazepa published an article where he claimed and actually boasted that he and the other Ukrainian fascists has successfully sabotaged the agricultural grain production of Ukraine. He claims that they intentionally did this in 1931 and 1932, which would line up with the decreased grain yields that we saw in the census. Hans Blumfeld was a German-Canadian architect who was working in Ukraine in 1932, and he claimed that there was no evidence whatsoever of famine. He saw only one person with a distended belly, which was a young child who was waiting to be seen by a doctor.
Someone's like, you're a brave soul tackling this topic.
To the agricultural sabotage.
That's how I feel when I step on Ukraine shit.
Over 30 million seed pods and thousands of tractors and combines to Ukraine to help aid in recovery. So where does this myth of the so-called Holodomor come from? Well, it originates in 1935. And we're going to have to take a little bit of a short trip and talk about a guy named William Randolph Hearst and another guy named Thomas Walker. William Randolph Hearst was a newspaper magnate who owned, at the time, I believe, about 20% of the American press. This was a guy who had Benito Mussolini on his payroll. Yes, that Mussolini. Some of the other great articles that this guy's companies published included ones trying to keep the Soviet Union out of the League of Nations, which was being formed at the time, and articles that were extremely anti-labor and called for military and police crackdowns on labor unionists. In 1934, he visited Germany. I bet you know what was going on then, and he met with the German press secretary who gave him an exclusive foreign press contract. Stay tuned for part 2 where we talk about Thomas Walker. As it turns out,
Oh no, my vape's not really working. Now we're gonna check out something else. I want to check out this one with this crazy fucking lady. This insane lady. Let's watch this one first. This one has more views, so maybe this was the first one.
No one on earth.
a lot of liberal commentators.
Whoa, what happened?
No one on earth has lived in Israel as long as we Jews have.
This is why I say that Israel and Zionism are not Jewish. They are completely and utterly secular. Whether you are Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, you can trace the beginnings of your religion back to Abraham. Abraham emigrated to what we now call Palestine from what we now call Iraq. He was an Arab. Abraham had a son named Isaac, who then had a son named Jacob. Jacob is who the 12 tribes of Israel are descended from. You cannot claim that the Jews were in Palestine before the Arabs when literally your own holy book tells you that you are descended from an Iraqi Arab man. Unless, of course, the holy teachings, the holy writings are not of much consequence to you, and really you're just interested in creating a white European nation state in the middle of the Arab world.
No one on earth has lived in Israel as long as we Jews have.
This is why I say that Israel...
That was it. They are trying to create a white ethno state in the Middle East. That is literally true.
No one on earth has lived in Israel as long as we Jews have.
That is simply not true. Not according to documented history, but according to the actual religious texts of the Jewish people. The Jews themselves are descended from Abraham. Abraham emigrated to the Levant, or what we now call Palestine, from what we now call Iraq. And when he got there, the Canaanites were already settled there. To a large extent, the modern-day Palestinians are descended from those Phoenician tribes in the Levant. They were there before Abraham, and therefore they were there before the Jewish culture was even a thing, and they would remain there until the present day. And no, that does not mean that they are genetically identical. So if that's the game that these so-called Israelis want to play, then they have chosen a game where they are destined to lose. And that's beside the fact that this is all more or less irrelevant. The Palestinians exist, and they exist in Palestine, and they are being subject to brutal treatment by the Israelis, regardless of who was there first. But even according to the internal logic of Zionism itself, this analysis does not stand up to scrutiny.
No one on earth.
Okay, let's see what else he has. This looks like Dylan Burns.
The
So
Soviet
this was
Union
the
didn't
first
care
dude
that
that
the
he's
Germans were
responding
committing
to.
a genocide against Jewish people. In fact, Stalin probably applauded them for it.
Listen, I'm not sure if the cowardly Grand Wizard of History is trying to get tankies to come after him, but If that is his goal, he's doing a pretty good job, because this is some serious bait. I just couldn't help but take it. I'm just going to take a page out of Obama's book and say, let me be clear. There is no evidence whatsoever that Stalin approved of the Holocaust, nor does the Grand History Wizard provide any such evidence. I'll also add that there's probably a reason he didn't allow comments, duets, or stitches on this video, because he knows that he's talking out of his ass, making shit up. The fucking Soviet Union was one of the only civilizations at the time that actually had laws against anti-Semitism. And listen, I gotta bring this up because it's not directly said in the video, but the implication that he's trying to make is that in contrast to the United States, the USSR didn't go to war with Germany for ideological or moral reasons. Let's not pretend that the United States didn't go to war with Germany until after Pearl Harbor. Let's also not pretend that British and American industrialists didn't support the rise of Nazi Germany. Look, the Grand History Wizard is doing two things here. The first thing that he's doing is he's shilling for American empire by trying to make the American ruling class of the 1940s and 50s look like some benevolent social justice warriors, which they absolutely were not. The second thing that he's trying to do is destroy the anti-fascist legacy of communist leaders like Stalin, so that people like me, who say that Stalin was a based as fuck Giga Chad, can be made out to look like fascists, which we aren't, by the way.
The Soviet Union.
I gotta learn it. I gotta look into Stalin more. I don't know if he's a based Giga Chad, but I do like Red. Red's a pretty cool dude. Red like China. Let's see what else he has. Features an illusional thing.
All right, it's time for some self-criticism. I do this pretty regularly, but here we go again. I really need to stop engaging on the subject of what is Marxist communism. I spend a lot of time debunking the idea that it's, this moneyless, classless, stateless society, and the only reason I really do it is just because it's fun for me to just kind of like stunt on people and demonstrate my command of Marxism-Leninism, but it's really unhelpful and it sort of misses the entire point. So I think this is something that I just need to move on from. Why do I say it misses the point? Because if you're going to ask the question, what is communism? I mean, communism is what it is. Communism is Leninism. Before Lenin did what he did, communism was just, at worst an idea, a word, and at best it was just, a cool, neat way that you could, see the unfolding of history, the movement of history, and understand it in a sublime and inherent way. But then Lenin saw that movement of history and he actually inserted himself and the Bolshevik Party into history and started actively participating in it. The Bolshevik Revolution happened because Lenin and his comrades could see the writing on the wall and they were ready to take advantage of the situation that Russia was in. So when we ask what is communism, communism is the USSR, it's the People's Republic of China, it's Vietnam, North Korea, Cuba. It is what it is in concrete reality. It isn't just an idea that we need to sit around.
Yo, Red like China. You should talk about Cuba, please. I would love to hear your thoughts about Cuba, man. All right, there goes Red like China. That was cool. Leftist politics, imperialism. Replying to a lot of people. He stitched this.
You still have to vote for Joe Biden.
People aren't going to like this, but if you vote for Democrats, you're a Democrat. I mean, maybe you could say you're a liberal, but basically you're a Democrat. But Red, I have all these ideas, like, I always think about how capitalism's bad, and like my friends and I talk about it all the time. Well, I'm sorry, your words and your ideas don't fucking matter. I know we were all raised in this individualized liberal hellscape, but to be honest, none of that shit matters. What matters in concrete, actual reality are your actions. And as
True.
far as your actions go, there is nothing to distinguish you from your run-of-the-mill shit-lib Democrat. I'm sure this guy means well. I'm not calling into question his character, but at the end of the day, some tough love is needed, my friend. This is why myself.
I'm not gonna
and all
lie
my
though, I do
comrades
rather
do
have
not call
Biden than
ourselves
Trump. So
leftists.
when it comes to that vote, I'm definitely not gonna
Iraq.
vote for fucking Trump. You know what I mean? So it is always like the lesser of evils, which sucks. I hate that argument. The lesser of evils argument. Communism and socialism. Let's see this.
Why do people on the left insist on making this point that productivity is not the point of humanity? I mean, I get that in capitalism, productivity means basically generating revenue for a capitalist, but in socialism, that's not the case. I mean, if we were to transition to a socialist society where the means of production are organized in such a way to uplift and enrich as many people as possible, in that scenario, if you aren't being productive, then what fucking use are you? And I understand the argument that, like, there are people with disabilities and such that can't contribute in the same ways that we can, but again, under a socialist framework, there's absolutely no reason that these people can't contribute. Maybe they can't work in capitalism because they're unable to generate the same amount of revenue that an able-bodied person would for a capitalist, but that doesn't mean they can't help somebody. I mean, disabled people have skills that they can share with people.
True.
They might be gifted speakers that would be able to uplift and inspire people. Hell, they might be able to do the same kind of work that any other person could, just not quite as efficiently. But as long as they're doing something, as long as they are contributing to the overall efforts of society, then that's being productive, even if it just means, I don't know, you're cooking for your wife or taking care of your kids or, you know, organizing a soccer club at your school. It's definitely true that we need to sort of reevaluate what productivity means, but at the end of the day, humanity wants to be productive. We want to progress, we want to grow, and we want to prosper.
For real.
And that doesn't happen magically. That happens through hard work. Why do people on the left insist on making this point that productivity is not the point of humanity? I mean, I get that in capital.
Oh, this motherfucker. This guy's crazy, dude.
These animals, Hamas, savage, terrorists.
Hey, so what if a bunch of white people came from Europe and stole a bunch of brown people's land? I mean, that don't give them the right to resist the occupation. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
These animals, Hamas.
That's good, bro. That's a good one.
Zionists will say that the saying from the river to the sea is a call for genocide, that it means the elimination of all Jewish people in Palestine. And that's really just projection, right? Like, they're saying that if they advocated for from the river to the sea, Israel will be free, that for them, that would mean the wholesale elimination of every single Arab in the area. They can't imagine the idea of a Jewish person living under an Arab or Muslim government. And that's because the Jewish Zionist government in Israel has no intention of ever respecting the human rights of Palestinians. Never mind the fact that Jewish people lived in Palestine under a Muslim government for a long time before Israel ever existed. Zionists will say that the saying...
Oh, son. Any more Palestine shit? Oh, yeah. Free Gaza, free Palestine right here.
Here's the thing. I don't want to vote for somebody who's running the country just because they're better than the alternative.
That would be nice, but that's not the situation in which we find ourselves.
Let me tell you about the situation in which you find yourself. It is a situation in which you are forced to claim that being against genocide is a position that comes from a place of privilege. You have also found yourself in a situation where tactics or strategy don't really matter at all. All you can really do is make appeals to emotion and virtue signal. Because, much like the Democrats that you shill for, I am not at all convinced that you actually care about the people of this country one way or the other.
Yeah.
Now, I am not a Democrat like you, but I can give you a little bit of advice. And that advice is that if you do this thing, if you support Biden through this ongoing genocide, you will be showing the Democrats that there is nothing they can ever do that will lose your support for them. So if that's the message you're trying to send, that you will be their faithful lapdog even through their support of ongoing genocide, then you're going to be successful.
Here's the thing, I don't want to vote for somebody who's running the country just because.
All right, that was a pretty good take.
I feel like a lot of people who follow me might not know what the March of Return was, but I just want to give a very, very brief overview of it before I start talking about the subject of this video. The March of Return took place in 2018, and essentially it was an overwhelmingly peaceful protest / demonstration in which many, many Palestinian people attempted to cross the border and reclaim their ancestral homes and homeland. And of course, being the Zionist freaks that they are, Israel decided that they should open fire on a group of unarmed protesters. And, in fact, it was found that not only did they specifically target children, they also targeted the weak, the elderly, and the disabled. So this gets me into the actual topic of the video. There are a lot of claims going around that Hamas uses human shields. Now, first of all, let me tell you what their evidence for this is. Basically, they take an aerial photo.
Yo, where are you at, bro?
from
What
Gaza.
warehouse is this?
They have a building in the center of the image, and they take the red highlighter app on their photo editing software, and they color over the building and say, that means Hamas is in there. So beyond the fact that there's actually no evidence for this absurd claim, I just want to point out how it makes absolutely no sense. Because Israel has proven time and time again that not only are they willing to unalive civilians due to collateral damage, they are actually willing to directly target civilians, including children and other infirm people.
For real.
So if we know that human shields are not going to deter Israeli strikes, then what exactly would be the logic behind using human shields to begin with? I find this to be an example of the same
human
type
shields
of
aren't working, bro.
rhetoric that people use to basically discredit Hamas, and I find it to be somewhat racist. You can claim that they are a ruthless fighting force, which they definitely are. I mean, they're fighting to reclaim their homes from an occupying force, but by no means can you claim that they lack the analytical ability to recognize the fact that human shields will just not work against Israel.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people who follow me.
True.
First of all, the Zionists are backpedaling. They don't know what to do. They are just straight up grasping for straws. So on that note, keep up the good work, everybody. But I want to break down one of the arguments that they have started using that is just absolutely baffling to me. Basically, it's that all of the violence committed against Israel after the official founding of the state in 1948 is considered aggression, and that Israel is justified in their response. So basically, their argument is that if you just legitimate land theft with a piece of paper, then that means there's no longer any such thing as legitimate resistance to that land theft. A bunch of people from mostly white countries drew up a little document, and they gave some speeches, and they signed some names, and now the people of Palestine should just pack it in and accept the fact that their existence is now subject to Israeli approval. But here's the thing, though, that ignores, which is that someone's connection to the land that they live on and that their ancestors lived on before them is not just based on a piece of paper. The Palestinian people's connection to the land of Palestine is not just based on a UN resolution, it is based on centuries of history and their actual legitimate way of life. Zionists will claim that since 1948, Israel has been seeking peace, but if you steal someone's land and then you attempt to make peace without giving back the land, There is no universe in which that is a good faith attempt at peace.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go to the fucking restroom real quick. Be right back. Fuck. Okay. That was it.
The Zionists are totally convinced that without U.S. aid, without U.S. funding, they will be totally fine. No worries. So, to that, I would like to say, bet. The Zionists are totally A lot of liberal commentators, such as the StarCraft streamer Destiny, have been talking about the amount of humanitarian aid going into Gaza.
Fuck Destiny.
They will use it as evidence that this humanitarian crisis is somehow self-imposed or that it's not really as bad as people say it is. But what this so-called analysis forgets is the fact that these conditions are conditions imposed by occupation, bombardment, and encirclement. Humanitarian aid is not going to solve this crisis. What will solve this crisis is a successful struggle for national liberation. For the TikTok censors, I am not advocating for violence against any person or any group of people. But that being said, when you are engaged in an armed, militant national liberation struggle, the type of aid that is needed is military aid. This crisis can only end when the Palestinian people are granted sovereignty over their land and the right to national self-determination, and that will only come through armed conflict. The Zionists and their benefactors in the West have made it abundantly clear that national self-determination is not something they are interested in granting to the Palestinians, and therefore the only way it will be achieved is by force. A lot of liberal commentators, such as the StarCraft streamer
Destiny.
Long before 1920, following the First World War, when the British Mandate of Palestine was founded, that part of the world was already a place that Jewish people from Europe would go to find refuge from the anti-Semitism in Europe and elsewhere. This anti-Semitic Zionist idea that without the state of Israel, the persecuted Jews of Europe would have nowhere to go is just simply false. The part of Ottoman Syria that we now call Palestine was home to 20 or more Jewish settlements where the Jewish people there lived more or less in harmony with their Arab and Muslim counterparts. The Zionist project then is not actually about protecting European Jews. It's about setting up a client state in the Middle East that the West can use to wage a broader regional war against the Arab and Muslim world. There's a lot of great coverage on this app from comrades and even from people that I would basically consider liberals, but this is a point that I don't think gets enough attention, so I'm going to take it upon myself to keep hammering this point home and keep talking about it.
Good point.
My reach, my following is very limited, but I'm going to do what I can to stamp out these Zionist lies, specifically on this front. Long before 1920,
Anything else?
I think there's a misconception in the Western press and amongst the U.S. people that this conflict in Gaza is, Hamas on one side and the IDF on the other side. It's not quite that simple, and I want to break down something for you guys. The first thing is that there is the formal IDF, and then there's also armed militias on the Israeli side, which are essentially just like settlers who pick up a
pew pew and go and unalive Palestinians. So the idea that anyone who isn't an IDF soldier is somehow just like an unarmed civilian is just plainly and obviously not true. The other half of this is that while Hamas is more or less the figurehead of Palestinian resistance in Gaza, they are not the only group. The other two biggest groups are, of course, Palestinian Islamic Jihad and the Popular Resistance Committees. But there are other smaller groups as well. It's sort of like a broad coalition of, national liberation and resistance. So just to boil it all down to Hamas is a little bit reductive. And anyway, free Palestine, free Gaza, and down with the Zionist entity.
Hey.
No different than how the Nazis blamed Jews.
Can we stop pretending this has anything to do with Jews, at all? I mean, Israel is not a Jewish thing. Israel is a settler colonial project set up by the UK and America, countries which both have no regard for Jews, one way or the other. The question of Jewish identity or Jewish indigeneity has no bearing whatsoever on the question of whether or not European countries have the right to colonize and ethnically cleanse Arabs.
No different.
All right, that's pretty lit. What's this?
The U.S. underestimated the People's Army of Vietnam when they said that they would rather be unalived than allow a single U.S. soldier to continue occupying their land. They underestimated the Taliban when they said they would not allow their country to be ruled by a U.S. puppet state. And they underestimated the people of Iraq, who to this day say that the war is not over until every U.S. soldier leaves in a body bag or otherwise. How many times does this lesson need to be taught? Because it seems that from the U.S. State Department's perspective and from the perspective of their many shills online, these lessons have never been taught.
For
and
real.
They are now underestimating Palestine and Hamas as well as their allies in Hezbollah, in Syria, and in Iran. The people of Central Asia will not submit to the colonization of their land by the West, by the North Atlantic. To the white Westerner living in the North Atlantic, it may seem feasible to dehumanize someone to the point that you can justify driving them off their land like cattle. But when you do that, you dehumanize yourself to the point that there is no reason not to fight back. And not just to fight back, but to fight back with the ruthlessness and brutality that we see now. As much as it may seem like it to us now and here, Palestine is not alone. Palestine will be free, and there's nothing that Israel or the U.S. and its allies can do about it.
Mm. Cool. All right. Anyways, let's check out my other boy. What's his name? Check out SensaiNinja Pig. What's your newest video on here, boy?
Hey guys, got another package from GamerSups, and you're wondering, hey, didn't you just get a package from GamerSups? Yeah, something special about this done though. When I got my tea bags, one of the bags was opened, and the bag inside was ripped. So I contacted GamerSups support, they gave me a $10 coupon code. I then tweeted at the Russian Badger, which his name is Shorts Badger on here, about it, and he said, this is unacceptable. I'm going to send you a free tub. So what I got is a new flavor called Soda Pressed Despair.
Awesome.
I'm gonna open it. Got it open. There's a special thing about this where you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting a specific one, which here's I did not get. So
That's
this is
good.
clearly a pear flavor, which is nice.
That looks cool.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Awesome,
I got another
man.
package from GamerSups, and you're wondering, hey, didn't you just...
And this was the last one. Keep making more, buddy. I'll keep checking them out.
Hey guys, just doing this really quickly. I got my Mega Mix. It is like 7 different flavors. It's got Gamer Fart, Blowhole, Titty Milk,
Shit.
Cantaloupe, Cursed Energy.
I'm not sure why it says dream in the back of his thing.
Mango.
Look, it says dream speedrun music.
Dragon Fruit.
Come on, dream.
Fruit Punch, I think that's it. Putting 2 scoops in. I call this swamp water.
Swamp water.
That is dirty poo water. That is what this is. Dirty poo water. Hey guys, just doing this really quickly. I got my Mega Mix. It is like 7 different flavors. It's got Gamer Fart, Blowhole, Titty Milk, Cantaloupe, Cursed Energy, Mango, Dragon Fruit Punch. I think that's it. Putting 2 scoops.
Get out there.
So, my dad's new van, right? And we go down, we're gonna go get some dog food and gas station stuff. And while we're driving, guess who popped up? Our cat Cracker.
Cracker!
She jumped up right there. He was like, Cracker, what are you doing here? Now we're downtown with beautiful boy. I don't know how to do TikTok filming yet, dude, but yeah.
Aww.
Look at how cute.
That's cute, man. That's cute. All right, y'all. Let's play some video games, huh? Panic attack. Let's play some War Thunder. You're not there. You're not there. You're not there. Can't see when you're not there. You're not there. You're not there. Yo, what up, Diggs? BTW7. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, brother? Let's play some War Thunder. Diggs. What does BTW mean? By the way? Is that what it means? By the way? Diggs, by the way, what's up? I need to play my my streams on low latency, or else by the time I answer you guys gonna be gone. Kill him, kill him. Ooh, okay, let me stay back. Oh, they're behind us. How did they kill me? God damn. Okay. Oh, my camera's lagging now, dude. What the fuck? Hey, yo, what the fuck? Hold on, I gotta... Woo! Critical hit! Critical hit! Awesome! Look at that. We hit his bullets. I love this tank because it's so fast. Like, look how fast it is on turning and stuff. Not the head. The head is very slow, but that's okay. Awesome. Oh no. Oh! They got me, bro! I don't want these bullets. I want these. Give me the big chungus ammo. Big chungus ammo, bro. Uh-oh. Ah. Oh. God damn, guys, my stomach's hurting a bit. Let's play like one more round. Oh, I didn't want to play the same country. All right, let's go again. My camera just died on me. Ah! Let's go. Fuck. All right, guys. I gotta go. I'm not feeling too well. Hope you guys have a great day. I love you guys so much. Take care. And check out all the people I checked out. Redlikechina and